Alright guys, so today I will show you how I use this app, Linea Sketch, on your iPad with the Apple Pencil to help me map clients' eyebrows or help me in terms of designing, right? So let's get started. Okay, so when you get to the app, right, so you're gonna start right here. So this is gonna be where you start a new project. Right here. Okay, so this is a new project. So you can use two fingers to kind of like adjust. This is your canvas, right? So these boxes here are your layers. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my bottom layer first, and then I'm gonna import the picture. Okay, so import from your photo library, right? So I'm gonna go to my album. And then I'm gonna select an image. So let's say with this one. Okay. Now from this corner right here, you can just drag and adjust. And then I'm gonna use my two fingers to rotate the image. I'm gonna adjust again. Okay. So once you adjust everything to your liking, right? And then you're gonna do this, tap this little check mark right here on the top, right? And then it's gonna paste. Now you can just adjust the whole thing now. So let's start. Okay. So now when I map clients' eyebrows, I don't use like golden ratio or much of the measurements, because this is going to be like more of a rough idea and I'm not going to want to spend way too much time on this, right? So I'm just going to show you shortcuts. Yeah. So okay, so now I prefer to use pencil, right? Right here there's different tools. This is like a marker, this is like a fine marker, right? So you can choose the color right here, the color panels. So right here, so you can choose colors, right? So since we do eyebrows, so I'm gonna stick with the browns. If you want to select your client's hair color, so you can tap this little color picker thingy, right? And then just go tap right there, and now it's gonna come up with your client's hair color right there, right? So go back, right, undo right here. Now I'm gonna make sure I adjust this more horizontal. Oops, what did I do? Okay. All right, so now this is our first layer, right? Now, so that's gonna be the picture of the client. Now I'm gonna select the second layer. Now the second layer is going to be where I do the mapping. Okay, so I'm gonna do a quick mapping. Now I'm gonna use a pencil tool, okay? And then I kind of go right here where the eye socket is, like right there, right from like the mid area, the center of like and the mid distance from the nose and like the corner of the eye there, right? And then I drag this line straight up, and then I hold it in place for a few seconds, and then it becomes a straight line. Okay, and then from the corner of the eye right here, I'm gonna change to a different color so you can see. So from the corner of the eye right there, right, I'm gonna drag the line straight up, hold it. I can still move it around if it's not super straight. Okay, and then you can do from the corner of the nose, pick the pencil again. So you can go from the corner of the nose, corner of the eye, and hold it in place to determine where the eyebrow tail is. But normally, because of this is just a flat picture, right? So as you can see, the tail looks rather short. So when I do this, I prefer this is not a rule, okay? I prefer to go from the tip of the nose past the corner of the eye, and then I kind of adjust this. You can see the line still moving right there. So that's going to be 0.3 where the tail of the eyebrow is. So this is going to be 0.2, right? So 0.6 is going to be, I'm going to use a different color. So 0.6 is going to be slightly behind 0.2, right? Yeah. Okay. So this is where your 0.1, 0.4, 0.2, 0.3 here. This is going to be 0.6 and 0.5. This is going to be the center of the eye. Go straight up. Right. That didn't work. Okay, one more time. Go from the pupil. Go hold in place. There you go. So that's going to be point number 5 for you right there. Right. Now, so I'm going to align the eyebrows on both eyes, both sides, right? So I want to make sure that the line is at 90 degree, the zip line. Do you see that? On the top, where it says 90 degree. So that tells you that's like perfectly horizontal. If your picture is, you set it perfectly horizontal, right? And then this line to align 0.2. Yeah. So now, once you have all that markings already, all the lines, right? I'm gonna go ahead and select the third layer now. So this second layer, if you go this little slidey thingy, so if you slide it all the way down, so it will disappear all that because of that, the second layer, right? Or you can just tap and then do this, tap on this little eye icon. There you go. Right, when you do that, everything that you do on that second layer would disappear, right? So I still want to see that, so I'm just gonna go ahead and keep there, but now I'm gonna be working on my third layer. So I'm gonna go ahead and create the frame of the eyebrow now. Okay, now the frame of the eyebrow, right? So you can use whatever color really, because you can just, not show it later on, right? So you can just, click this little thing, right? Tap this little thing, so it will disappear later. Okay, so now from 0.4 to 0.5, it's gonna be a straight line, right? From 0.1 to 0.2, I also wanna make sure it's a straight line first, right? And now 0.3, I want to make sure that the tail of 0.3 is not lower than 0.4. So I'm gonna try to be somewhere. Let's do this little line right here. So to want to make sure that the tail of the eyebrow is not too low, right? So I want to kind of gauge there. So the tail of the eyebrow, I want it to be somewhere there, right? Okay, so I'll go back to, so now 0.2 to 0.3. There you go. Right, and then 0.6, I'm gonna kind of guesstimate to 0.3, and then 6 to 5, right? So now I have kind of like the rough shape already, right? So now, look, so if I make the second layer disappear, so now you just have this rough eyebrow shape going on. Does that make sense, right? So now what you can do is make sure you select like the smallest size here, okay? Make it easier, right? And then you can zoom in, you can rotate. Right now I'm gonna I'm gonna be working on my third layer. I'm gonna hide my second layer again. Okay, make sure you work on the correct layer. So before I had my second layer selected, right? And then I tried to do something. So the app says the layer is hidden. You want it to show or not, right? If you want it to show, all those lines are gonna come back again, right? So you don't want those lines at the moment, okay? I mean, you can keep it if you want, doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna be working on the third layer. Now I'm gonna be smoothing this out just a little bit. Right, so here you're gonna want to smoothen it just a little bit. So create nice soft curved lines. Okay, so now we have a rough eyebrow shape going on. Okay, got that, right? So I'm just gonna make this a bit darker so you can see better. Cool, right? So now we have 3 layers so far, right? I'm gonna be going on to the 4th layer now, right? So now it depends on what you do, right? If you do ombre, if you do microblading, right? For, let's say I select so I choose this thing. So client wants the color that matches her hair, right? So I select that. So now that looks kind of greenish, so that's probably off. So I'm gonna pick somewhere somewhere here. Okay, no, I'm gonna select her eye color, so doesn't look so, that the hair looks kind of green. Okay, all right, so if you do ombre, right, so you're just gonna start kind of filling it in. Make sure you're on the 4th layer. Right. So with this one, if you press hard, it will get darker, right? So make sure you keep it light as well. It's sensitive to how heavy you do as well, right? So make sure you keep it light. Oops, not eraser, back to pencil. Keep it light. Start shading. I mean, you can make it smaller, make it faster, maybe. I'm not sure. Okay, so this would give your clients, you know, a general idea. And so just gonna smoothen everything out as much as I can. Okay, if you want to do little details, zoom it in. Right? So now let's say I'm happy, I'm not happy, right? Usually I spend a little bit more time on this. Okay, so now if you make this third layer disappear, so you're gonna have a rough eyebrow shape, right? So now go back to your pencil again, go back to your fourth layer again. So now you can, you know, perfect this even more. Right? And then if you want, if you're super OCD like me, right? So gonna go use a smallest size and then clean the edges. Take your time, okay? Don't rush it too much. But in this video, I'm doing rather fast. I think it's important when you show your client, you know, when the picture looks good, when your drawing looks good, it shows them that you are a good artist and you care about your art, right? So that doesn't look so bad, right? So I'm gonna continue to clean a little bit more. Right. Yeah. So if you do like a combo brow, right? So you can, for example, so I select that one. So just in case client doesn't like it, so I can just remove it, right? And then I just start drawing the hair stroke. I'm gonna use a darker color. There, right? So in the front part here, if you feel you don't like it, you wanna smudge it. So this is your smudger, and kind of like fade it out just a little bit. Am I selecting the correct layer? Maybe not. Okay, now it's better. Yeah. Okay, now that looks better, right? So this way, client can, you know, have an idea of what it looks like and the shape that you would recommend your client, okay? And, you know, what they want, right? And then let's say the client comes back and say, hey, it looks really straight, right? I wish it had more curve, you know, like this one, so too blocky, right? So you just have to identify which layer this is. So let's say the client said, oh no, I don't want that microbladed stroke, right? But sometimes when it's too dark, the client just like, you know, oh, it looks so intense. So you just have to kind of like fade that down a little bit, because, you know, once it's healed, it's not going to be super dark like that, right? So gonna, come on, fade. There you go. So now it's a little bit more faded, right? And we don't want this. So client says, wish it was a little bit more curved. So you come back and start from cancel, start from 0.6. Let's say she's happy with the thickness of the front. So we don't take the front out. I'm doing too fast. I'm just making mistakes, so I'm just going with it, okay? In real life, try to be, please be more careful than this, okay? Zoom in, do little details. Here you go. So now have more of a arch, right? So yeah, so these things can be discussed by just doing this, so that when it comes to on the day of, right? So you saves a lot more time. It saves, you know, headaches. Okay. Okay. All right. So now let's say, let's do another example, right? Okay. So start here, and then it's this layer, import. So import from album. So now I am gonna use someone that has eyebrows, okay? So let me rotate this first. I mean, you can do, you know, the portrait or landscape side as well, but it's up to you. Doesn't really matter, I guess. Whoop, that doesn't look good, so let me try that again. Import. Because her eyes looked a little crooked earlier, so. Okay, now that looks better. So making sure ears are in the frame. I prefer it that way, because when they look at themselves, it's, you know, it's easier that way, right? Okay, so now, so once you import the picture, right, and then move to the second layer, I'm gonna use, I prefer to use bright colors to help me map. So again, starting from, I'm gonna use a pen tool. So around here, go straight up, right? Zip line 0, so that angle, that means it's perfectly vertical, right? So here, and then 0.6 is going to be approximately 3 millimeters behind 0.2. So I'm gonna kind of like leave it right there. And then from the tip of the nose to corner of the eye, I'm gonna move it around a little bit. So that's gonna be where the tail is. Yeah. And now I'm gonna align 0.4, align 0.4. That's too low. So from here, okay, her eyebrows are not, you know, super even. I mean, in terms of like that hair growth and whatever she has going on. Wait, is that straight? That doesn't look straight, does it? Okay, one more time. Okay, that looks better. Okay, so now I'm gonna align 0.2. Oops. So one brow is much higher than the other, right? So let's do that again. Okay, I'm trying not to move the iPad, so I have to adjust my body position. Oops. So her eyebrows like way off. Maybe that's why they didn't really match it, because it's way off. So kind of meet in the middle, maybe. Nope. So this is one of the cases where, you know, you just have to kind of like do your best to make this one look good, make this one look good without matching the height of the brow. But you see 0.1 and 0.4 still can be matched. Okay, I mean, I've done this before because of the bone structure and whatnot, right? So this is a case where you can show this to your client, so you can have this discussion before the day off, so it saves both of you a lot of time and headaches. So let's say I cut this a little bit, right? Or it could be when the client takes a picture for you, and then, you know, she's raising her forehead, her eyebrows, or her head is not straight up right or something. But this is, to me, like the ears, the corner of the eyes, and everything looks pretty good, but it's just her eyebrows that are not super even, right? Yeah. Okay, so meeting in the middle ground like this. So if she wants to fix it, like, we can bring this one up right there, and then, you know, and just ignore that, right? If this is not permanent makeup, we can just trim the hair there, and we can just bring this up, right? But if it's permanent makeup, you are doing a correction work. So this is where you might have to tell your client that, you know, she needs a little bit of removal right here, you know, to fade out that part of the eyebrow first before she can get a perfect set of symmetrical eyebrows. Okay, all right, so now now we have all the markings already, right? So you have 0.1 right here, 0.4, 2 is here, 3 is going to be somewhere here, 0.6 here. Oh, we don't have 0.5 yet. So 0.5 at the center of the earth, right there, right? So now I have 0.5. Cool. Now I'm gonna go to the next layer, right? And then I'm gonna use this beautiful pink color there. So coming from 0.1 to go to 0.2, I can just move things around a little bit just to make sure the points are good. 0.1 wasn't quite where I wanted to be, so ooh, that's way low. Let's try this. Okay, that looks better. So now from 0.4 to 0.5. Huh, Okay, good. And then from point 2 to point 3. So again, I don't want the tail of be too low, right? So as long as it's not lower than 0.4, so let's say if I aim at somewhere there, zip line's at 90 degrees, so that means perfectly horizontal, right? So from here, perfect. And then from 0.6, I'm guesstimating around here, go to 0.3. Sorry. Usually I move the iPad around, but because of the video, I can't. All right, that looks good. And then from 6 to 5. Okay, so now we have a rough shape, right? So now I'm gonna make this layer disappear. So now you have the rough shape of the eyebrow, right? So now you don't want this to see, let's say this is your client's eyebrow hair, they're not permanent makeup, right? So let's say this is client's eyebrow hair, and now you want it to go away. So how do we do that, right? So this is what I do. So select the layer where the picture is, right? Or you don't have to do, so this is the layer where the picture is, yeah? So you're gonna go ahead and pick the color that matches, that is her skin color, and then I'm gonna go ahead and use the brush tool and then kind of paint it over. This is too big, right? But the brush tool here, you have to pay. If you're not paying, you can use this as well, right? So let's say I go back to, right? So you can just use this, and so select a different color. Right, so you can just kind of give your client an idea of what it's like when it's all removed outside of that frame. Right, so this is going to take a little bit of work, right? So that's why if you pay and you use this brush tool, it's going to be so much easier. So let me show you again, right? So brush tool, select the color that's like closer to the eyebrow, right? This is the eyebrow area, and then I use that. Right, and then I select the skin area right there. Select the skin area. Select the skin area. Select the skin area. Select the skin area. So from like distance like this, so the eyebrows are now gone. Yeah. Okay. So now, once the eyebrows outside of that shape is gone, I'm gonna select a new layer, right? Because when we start shading or whatever, right? So if we make this layer disappear, all the outlines will be gone. Okay. So I'm gonna start shading, right? So I'm gonna pick a color that's closer to client's hair, right? So select this reddish brown, right? So if a client is doing just microblading, right, so you just have to start drawing the strokes. So let's say she is spine 3. I'm gonna, oops, what did I do? I was working on this layer, so I was wrong. Okay. So let me test. Yeah. So, go. So I don't want this layer. Okay. Should be working on this one. So now let's say she is a spine 3. So let's use a different color. So spine 3, so spine starts around here, spine 3 about here. So this is spine 3. What's going on? Okay. All right. Yeah. So just roughly. Nope. Okay. So now I mark the spine. Go to my 4th layer. The brown that we were using earlier. Then all right. So now if I make this one disappear, right, so now I have this one, and then I can go back to this layer, the 4th one. Then I keep adding the stroke. So this is going to be my spine, right? So spine. So I don't have a lot of room, just don't add the strokes, right? I'm going to make this one disappear again. Oop, I was working the wrong layer. It doesn't matter. Just going to do it again. Okay, then the top part. There you go. So now you have microbladed eyebrows design that you want to do for this client. So this can be discussed with your client on prior to the appointment. Does that make sense? Yeah. Hope this helps. And then, you know, if you are not, for you guys that, oh, did I move this? Okay. For you guys that are not doing microblading, right? So the same thing. So all of this instead of doing microbladed strokes, right? So with this one, then all you have to do is just start shading or filling it in, right? Just like what we discussed later on. What we discussed earlier. Yeah. Just fill it all in, right? Once you fill that to your satisfaction already. Ah, damn, I was working the wrong layer again. So, okay, again, so fill it in. Right, I'm doing something super quick, okay? Right, fill, right? And then with this layer, and then you're gonna use your eraser and clean the shape of this layer right here, the one that you were shading on, to clean the shape a little bit, okay? So there you go, right? So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope this helps.